Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the refirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Thank you, Sandy, so much for bringing us in. Mitch and Vanessa and doing all the stuff behind the scenes. Thank you guys for everything. Last week, had a really fun show with a new man who I've become friends with. Jared Cozen was here. He is I don't even know how to describe the guy's title. He said he's the new money man at Michigan State Athletics. Okay. That's how I kind of refer to him. He's a JD, MBA, super smart cat. He's been in professional athletics for basically his whole career. And now he's jumping into college athletics to help with the new NIL stuff. So that was just a fascinating, great time with him. And actually, Mitch, our producer, sent me a note and said, "That was a great one, Tom. That was a great show." You know, when Mitch gives you that kind of play, that's great. My guest today is my buddy D. Leon Stokes, stud, born in 1959. That was a good year, Lansing, Michigan. He's a year behind me in high school. He's about 1,000 times smarter than I am, but he's on that level of like genius. He's the youngest of 5 children. Had him on not too long ago talking about his first book. Leon's was a very good. His whole family's great athletes, really good athletes. He played for Everest State Championship basketball team back in the day. He was a very good student. He went to Kettering University, which back in our day, it was GMI. that dates us right there. Then he went on and got his MBA, or he went on and got a master's in applied statistics, from Oakland. In addition to sports, Leon's interest in growing up included reading and music. He's a big time musician. He's just a smart cat doing a lot of good things. Heavily influenced by his parents. We talk about that in his first book. He described that very, very closely, and we'll talk about more of that. He's a former executive with General Motors. Thank you for your service with GM. Now resides in Michigan with his wife, Yvette, and he's retiring in 2020 after 41 wonderful years with General Motors. How you doing today, Leon? How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. I'd like to meet that guy you just described. He sounds like a great guy.
I try to do that. I have all my guests are like, wow, I hope I can live up to that whole intro you did for me, Tom. Hey, it's good to see you, man. I'm really happy that you, thank you again for reaching out on the new book, and congratulations. Calling this one 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime, everybody, because that's the title of Leon's new book. First things first, bro. You know how this goes, man. This is your life. You've done this. You're a veteran of this show. Yeah. How's things been going? Talk about you. Talk about Yvette. Talk about the whole process of doing this next book, because you've been a busy guy, and I love the refirement journey that you're on. Go ahead. Let's talk about your life a little bit, and then we'll get into the book.
Yeah, things are going absolutely great. As you mentioned, my first book was published back in 21. That was the one that was a tribute to my father. So as we came out of COVID, I was able to get a little bit busier with respect to promoting that. So I've been doing a lot of that since 2021. It's gone very, very well. I've been very pleased with the reception. And I've had several people who get back with me saying how it's influenced them. Some young fathers, as an example, has them taking another look at how they want to parent. And I've had some young guys, which is my other major demographic, saying that they've really been able to connect with some of the things in that book. So that was very, very rewarding, getting that kind of feedback.
That's an interesting thing to say. Leon Stokes, our guest today, everybody. 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime, his new book. How to parent. I mean, what are some of those tips? Because those are the kind of stuff I love talking about. But what are some of the tips that you learned throughout your life that you share with some people who ask you those questions?
Yeah, some of the things I got from my dad, and again, I mentioned this in my first book. He gave me really some life lessons with respect to how to do it. And the way that he parented, I think, was very instrumental in helping me decide what kind of man I wanted to be. He taught me discipline. He taught me responsibility. For example, if there was something that I wanted to do, he and my mother, I don't recall them ever telling me no, but they made it very, very clear that I had to do the work. I had to make sure I do the work. Playing the piano, I took piano lessons when I was 9 years old. I had to be home at 6:30 every day at the piano to practice, no exceptions. So again, things in terms of discipline, doing the work, living up to responsibility, those are things that I got from my father. And also watching him with respect to how he interacted with other people. He was very, very respectful, but never subservient. He was always standing up as a man, but he treated everybody with respect. And seeing the way people responded to that, in terms of, for example, like when we were going to the barbershop, everybody was glad to see my dad. They was always happy to see him coming in because of the way that he treated them with respect. So those are some of the things that, some of the comments I've gotten back, I've heard some young fathers saying those are the kind of things they want to make sure they impart upon their kids.
Well, see, your dad, and I'm going back through my notes from the first interview we did, Leon, and your dad, correct me if I'm wrong here, but according to my notes, your dad and mom moved to Michigan in 1950. So, and from the deep, deep, deep South. And so they had some very interesting life challenges. And so, am I accurate in my notes?
That is correct. That is correct.
So the knowledge that you gleaned from your dad and your mom, being disciplined, getting at that practicing that piano, that's what made you a good athlete. That's what made you a good student. All of these traits. That's what I try to tell people, Leon, and you could justify this as far as I can go too.
Life lessons.
It's life lessons, right? It's the same stuff. I try to tell people when I'm training them at the gym, it's like, listen, the work is the work. It's just, what do you want to do? And let's just get busy and stay consistent, because it's not like rocket science, right?
That's right. Exactly. Anything that you want, you got to be willing to put into work, because nothing's going to be given to you. That's just not the way that life works.
Let me ask you about Kettering, GMI, because getting into GMI out of Everett High School, I remember these days very, very well. That was very, very exclusive. I mean, you had to be like valedictorian to get in. It was very, very competitive. How did you feel? Were you prepared going to GMI Kettering out of Everett High School?
I think I was prepared. And you may recall, I had a slight detour. When I first graduated, I went to Washington University in St. Louis. But then I made the decision to leave there, and I came back and applied to Kettering. And so that's one of the reasons why in 1979, that was really my first year in college. But I do think I was prepared in that I did have study habits. And that was probably one of the most critical things going to a school like Kettering. You had to know how to study, and you had to be disciplined and, meticulous in your studied habits. You had to have, your right situation, your right organization. You had to have your study area all, prepared so that, you can do what you needed to do. And I had started doing that in high school. So I did have those habits already established. And I found that helped me.
I have learned that over time, and in writing my books that I've done and doing this radio program, you have to have your area set up. You have to have your study zone. When I went back to college in my late years, in my 40s, as a non-traditional at Michigan State, my undergrad and graduate work, we had a space at our house in Holt, and that was it. And I mean, it was like locked into that spot every night. And that's the thing about the habits, everybody. You got to know how to do these things. You got to know how to show up. Because then it just becomes routine and it becomes normalized. Talk about Yvette for a sec. We got to go to break here in about a minute and a half, but talk about Yvette. How's she doing?
She's doing great. And I tell you, we're here talking about my new book. Yvette was my inspiration for this book. You may recall the first time when we talked, I told you one of the things I loved about her is that she balances me out. She repeatedly tells me and reminds me that we have to take advantage of opportunities to enjoy life experiences. I'm a business before pleasure type of guy, but she always reminds me, we got to take advantage of these opportunities because they're not going to be here forever. We're not going to be here forever, and we can find a balance. And so that's what she's helped me do, is find that balance. And I tell you, man, it has been absolutely fantastic as I've gone on this journey as an author. And since I've retired and I've got more time to spend with her, it's been great. It's been absolutely great.
That's fantastic. We'll get into all this stuff, everybody, because we're going to cover the 5 categories. The title of today's episode is a mirror of Leon's book. Leon Stokes is my guest today. 50 things you do in a lifetime. 50 things to do in a lifetime. We're going to go through the 5 categories that Leon's given to me that we'll talk about. And it's set up like this: travel, life experiences, professional development, love that, health, of course, and personal growth. All of these things add up. And I guarantee you that there's going to be a commonality within all 5 of those topics. It'll be habits. It'll be the routine. It'll be just getting in the groove. It'll be just understanding that we can do these things, and you got to push your foot forward and get rolling. Leon Stokes. Leon Stokes. He was a great athlete at Everett High School. 50 things to do in a lifetime. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. My buddy D. Leon Stokes, known this man for a long time, over 50 years, believe it or not. 50 things to do in a lifetime. Yeah, right? We have known you for over 50 years. We went to junior high school together, and it's amazing how you maintain these relationships with people, and it's greatness. Before we go much farther with the show, though, and talking about Leon's book, which we will do the deep dive on this, I got to say, I did my video today that I posted up. I do my little 1 minute, 1.5 minute videos. My 1 minute video today was a testimonial to Mike Dedman. Mike Dedman is the buyer's agent for the selling team of Keller Williams Realty, who is the sponsor of this segment, Brock Fletcher. But Mikey Dedman, he helped us get Little House Lansing, and he's just one of the most wonderful guys you ever want to meet. He's been on the show a bunch of times with Brock. He's in all of our meetings, all of our strategic meetings for growth for the team, the selling team of Keller Williams Realty. Reach out to Mike because he will take good care of you. Brock will take good care of you. Do it this way. First number is the office, 517-853-6408. This is Brock's cell phone number. He prefers this. You can text him. You can leave him a message, 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262. Leave him a voicemail or a text message, and he will return the call. Guarantee, because he changes his message every day, and he will say, I'll be returning calls between 3 and 5, and he will. And that's all there is to it. The kwsellingteam.com has the nicest website you've ever seen. You can go to our website, tommattshow.com. At the bottom of the homepage, if you're looking for the reality of real estate and all of those like 30 episodes we have with Brock, go to the bottom of that page, and you will just click on through, and away you go. It's all set. It's simple, easy way to go. And I also want to say thank you and hello to Joan Wright of Williamston. She listens to us on WKAR on Sundays, and she has been a long-term customer of Brock's, and I'd like to mention her name. And Joan, I hope you're doing well. And again, someday we will meet, and we'll have lunch or go to coffee or something like that, because I'm looking forward to it. But Joan Wright of Williamston, she is one of our fans of the radio program. D. Leon Stokes, my guest today, everybody. 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime. His new book. So you kind of opened up in the previous segment, D. Leon. You just said that your wife, Yvette, she gives you the balance, but she also inspired you to write this book. Let's start there. Let's start with the inspiration. We have our 5 categories. How did the balance, the team of Yvette coming in and kind of getting in your ear, how did that work for you?
See, what it got me to do is kind of look beyond what I got to do right now. The things I've got to do right now, and putting, the things that we may want to do or experience on the back burner until I get that done. She helped me realize that there's a way to find a balance. And by finding that balance, you can do both. You don't have to give up one in order to do the other. So that's one of the things that really drove it. A good example is the first category, travel. Since I've been with Yvette, we've done much more travel than I ever did before, because I was so busy working before she and I got together. I never really took the time to travel. But since I've been with her, we've been on some fantastic vacations, and we've got a whole bucket list of places that we'd still like to go. That's a tribute to her, because I tend to put that kind of stuff off until I get all the business taken care of.
Right. Well, us men, we want to fix things, and women are usually creative. Now, on your travel list, where have you gone? And where are you going? And what are some of the experiences that Yvette has got you to experience that you probably never would have done on your own? Because I know Sandy does the same thing for me. But where have you been, and what's the plans for the future?
One of the things we used to do a Caribbean vacation and a Mexico vacation. To various resorts on a bi-year cadence. We do one in the spring and one in the winter. Since I retired, we're kind of looking to branch out from those two areas. Last year, we celebrated our 25th anniversary.
Congratulations.
25th anniversary. Thank you. By going to Greece. So we spent 10 days in Greece, and that was an absolutely wonderful, wonderful trip. In fact, the cover of my book is a picture that I took off the island of Crete, sunset over the Mediterranean. And again, that together with, some of the day trips that we took while we were over there was absolutely fantastic. And again, that was motivated by my querying Yvette for where she'd like to go to celebrate our 25th. Some of the places we plan to go, Obviously, Paris is on the list. I talk about the Eiffel Tower as one of the sites that people need to see at some point in their life. Haven't been there yet, but that's one of the places we plan to go. We would like to go to Abu Dhabi at one point. I've been to China. Fortunately, on my job with General Motors, I had to go to China several times. But because of the distance and the amount of time I spent there, I did have an opportunity and some great people over there that I worked with that gave me an opportunity to see a lot of the country. And China is absolutely fascinating. If you really stop and do a little bit of research, the history is just amazing. I mean, they've got thousands of years of history. We're about to celebrate our 250th anniversary as a country. China is thousands of years old, to kind of put that in perspective. And some of the things that you can see over there in terms of some of the sites is incredible. And to balance that out, they've also got, if you go to Shanghai, one of the most modern cities in the world. And it is absolutely fantastic. I've also had an opportunity to go to India, and those people are probably the most gracious of any that I've ever encountered on the planet. They go out of their way to make sure you're comfortable, to make sure that you're taken care of, and they really look after you. So that was a very pleasant, very, very crowded. A lot of people in India, as you can imagine. I found the people to be very, very polite, very, very gracious, and very interested in making sure that you're comfortable. So Yvette and I, we've got some other places on the list, and we're gradually going to work it down. Some of them on the list in the book are places we still have yet to get to. I have not done everything on this 50. So this book is for me as well.
Good for
you. It's a reminder to me that there's still a lot yet to do that I haven't done. But I wanted to share that because what I got to thinking about when we got back from our vacation last year, which is when I started working on the book, is I've got more years behind me than I do in front of me. And if there's something that's going to get done, we need to get busy in doing it. And that's kind of what got me started on the list. And as I started filling out the list and started doing research and stuff, I got close to a book. So I said, let's go on and do it. Let's go on and do another book. But yeah, we've got several things that we're still yet to do.
Do you do any domestic stuff in the U.S.? Do you travel much in the U.S. and cover that? Because that's kind of what Sandy and I like to do. We've done a little bit international, but nothing to the extent that you have. What about but domestic? I got a minute to go here just to let you know. But what do you like best in the domestic travel?
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something else that Yvette and I are looking to do a lot more of. And I write about that in my book. I say visit all 50 states because all 50 states has something special to offer. I've been living in Michigan. I'll give you an example. I've been living in Michigan for all but 6 years of my life. I've only been to northern Michigan once. So again, that's an example of there are so many things to see. If you just kind of get out of your norm and travel and see what's out there, expand your mind. That's part of the personal growth that I think we need to take on and pursue on a lifetime basis. Need to constantly be looking to grow.
I am going to invite you and Yvette right on air right now as I'm recording this thing so everybody can hold me accountable. You guys can come over to our house in Wisconsin anytime. We'll take you up to northern Wisconsin and show you that. I tell you what, man, Door County is unbelievable, and we're really close to Door County. Door County is just like Traverse City, and it's just greatness. And we're talking about it today. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Love doing radio so much. Get to talk to my friends, make new friends, old friends. My guest today, D. Leon Stokes, has been a friend for over 50 years, and that is a fact. From Walter French, the Eagles, the Flying Eagles, and we were rough. Were we rough? Leon, Walter French was rough, weren't they?
We were tough.
We were tough. I mean, there were some athletes that we were just talking about that off air just a second ago, everybody. There were so many good athletes that still do come through the mid-Michigan, Lansing area. We'll do another show on that with Leon someday. That'll be another one we'll do in the future maybe that'll be his next book. I don't know. 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime, D. Leon Stokes. Before we go much farther though, I got it. This is one of my most favorite parts of the show where I do the testimonials for Brock. And I told you guys earlier that I did my 1 minute video, minute and a half video today is a tribute to Mikey Deadman, my good friend. and he is our buyer's agent for Little House Lansing. He's awesome. 13 years he's been with Brock. And by the way, if you're looking for a career change, or you're looking for your son or daughter or grandchildren, perhaps looking for a career opportunity, Brock is looking, and Brock and his team are the best to help you get in that right space, because they will teach you. They're very successful. You're not going to be doing a bunch of grunt work. You're going to learn from people who are pros, and they're going to teach you the right way. So just keep that in mind. Get a hold of Brock. You know those phone numbers, right? I just told them to you. I'll tell you to them again. Here's Brock's cell phone number. Just text him. Say, hey, I heard Tommy talking about getting a job. 517-303-3262. Go online to KW Selling Team. But tell him you heard it from me, and you want to get engaged with the training program, or you want to get engaged with how to get a job with Brock, because he is actively searching for people. And if you want to get in with the team, you need to do that. All right, testimonial time. Our experience with the selling team was excellent. That's in bold type. They did what they said they would do, which was extremely helpful. Bold type. They listened to what we needed in a home, found us several houses that met our criteria. That's always nice. You get to take your choice and pick one. Thank you so much. We love bold type, our bold type new home. That's Ben and Katie from Okemos. Ben and Katie, I hope you're still doing well over there. And thank you for doing that testimony for Brock. They're the best. They're the best. All right, back to the episode today. 50 things to do in a lifetime. We just talked about the first category of my buddy, Leon Stokes. Travel. I agree with that 100%. I'm not a big international guy, but you know what? Travel is seeing different cultures, Leon, right? You see different cultures, you meet different people, you see how different people, even within our country. I mean, we just got back from our trip to Florida, and people down there, I don't think anybody in Florida where we go, there's nobody from Florida that lives there. It's all Midwest people. I swear. But it's really nice to meet these people, man.
That is the thing about travel, which is one of the things I'm encouraging people to do in the book, be it across the state or around the world, different countries. It is very important because, we get all caught up in what we're used to. 60% of people live within 10 miles of where they grew up, 80% within 100 miles. And I'm not sure what the percentage is. A large percentage of those never really get out too far away from that. The world is such a diverse place. And I learned this traveling on my job. It's such a diverse place. You learn so much from other people, as you mentioned, from the other cultures, the food, the history, all those things in different countries. It is such a mind-opening experience that I really encourage other people to do. Again, getting back to that personal growth, that is a part of personal growth, and open up your mind to things that you've never really experienced before.
Well, exactly. This dovetails in where travel was the first category, but the life experiences. And I'm just going to mention real quickly that when we travel down south to Florida, we meet people like at the gym. I go to the same gym, been going to the same gym for 3 years now. And there's this similar people, same people that I met 3 years ago are still going. And you reconnect with these people, and they're happy to see you. And it's just fun to make that connection. So life experiences. What did you mean by that? That topic, that category, Leon. What were you trying to get to, and what do you want people to understand?
Yeah, life experiences. What I'm after in that particular section is and this is probably getting closer to the bucket list type thing than most people think about. There's all these things that we always dream about doing and never do. We say, one day I'd like to do this, or one day I'd like to do that, but we never do it. We never take any step forward to try and make it happen. What I'm encouraging people to do in this section is take that step forward to make something happen. Obviously, it takes some planning and preparation, but it's one of the things that you'll remember for the rest of your life. A few of the examples I've got in there: attend a major event, be it a Super Bowl or the Indy 500. My brother and I, several years ago, we went down to the Indy 500. Life-changing experience from the perspective of is completely different than what you see on TV. The speed of the vehicles, the roar of the engines, experiencing it in person is something completely different. And you'll never forget it. You'll never forget it. A Beyonce concert. Yvette insisted we go to a Beyonce concert on her last tour. And it's absolutely amazing the way that the crowd just goes crazy in those well-produced events, major events like that. So I'm encouraging people to take advantage of things like that, because you won't get a whole lot of chances to do some of those things that you may want to do, but you should pursue an opportunity to at least do some of them because you'll remember it for the rest of your life.
My takeaway on that, Leon Stokes, our guest today, everybody, 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime is his new book. Please go out and get this book. Is the limiting beliefs. I've talked about this many, many times, limiting and enabling beliefs, done written articles on this. People get so set in the way we just can't do it. It's just no way I can handle this for whatever reason. The confidence isn't there. And it's like, but the thing is once you have that one achievement, it's like, for example, myself, finishing college later in life was the best thing I could have done. At 46 years old, finishing my bachelor's degree showed me the value of that. And that's why I encourage, I'm such a non-traditional honk with education for people. It's like, get out there and do it. I did it. And, once you get that first victory, it's like, ooh, the life experience happens. And then you can, and that's the thing about lifelong ed, right? That's another life experience.
Right. That feeling you get when you experience something that you didn't think you ever would, it's addictive.
It is.
You want to do it again.
Well, the sense of accomplishment that you have, it's just like you winning a state championship in basketball. I mean, you didn't know that, your team didn't know that in 1977 that you were going to win the state. We all hoped, but there's no guarantee. Even if you have Irvin Johnson on the team, it didn't matter because you had Irvin Johnson on the team the year before and didn't win. So It's like it takes more. And if you have the enabling belief, we can do this. We can. If you plan for it, if you set it up, if you do the right way, you can get moving on this. Set up the rest of the show here. Leon, we got about 2 minutes before we go to break here. But you've got 3 other sections that you want to cover in the categories of your book, and talk about it a little bit and how that became. And I'll give you the signal when we got to go to break.
Yeah, the other next section is professional growth. Obviously, there are a lot of people that are still in the workforce. Fortunately for me, I'm retired and enjoying retirement. There are a lot of people still in the workforce and looking to reach their professional goals. But I try and identify here and pass along some of the things that were passed along to me are some pointers of things that people can do to prepare themselves for that opportunity when it does come. Make sure that you've got marketable skills, so you need to be very, very aware of what the marketing is demanding in terms of abilities and skills. Get yourself a mentor. That is extremely important, to get a mentor when you go into a company because they have been along the path that you want to go along. And again, they're not going to guarantee you a promotion or anything like that, but they can help you prepare so that you can be the best candidate for opportunities when they come along that you can be. So that's what this section is talking about. Get yourself, a mentor in the professional development area. I think that's extremely important because, again, our careers are very quick. 41 years went by like that for me at General Motors. So you need to make sure you're doing whatever you can to prepare yourself, once you do get into that particular area. And also, for those who are later in their careers under professional development, it's very important, be a mentor. You have accumulated knowledge, pass it along, pay it forward. That's important.
D. Leon Stokes is my guest today, my buddy. Long time, known forever. 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime. His new book, proud of him. He's the second book. That means he's going to have a third book. I'm sure he'll have a third, maybe a fourth. You're listening, thankfully, to The Tom Matt Show.
This segment of The Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by The Source of Light and Power by band leader Archival and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Doing my radio voice, my deep radio voice. D. Leon Stokes is our guest today, everybody. 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime. Remember, you can always reach back and get all of the podcasts, tommattshow.com. The website's been around for 15 years. It just keeps getting better and better and better. And it's just one-stop shopping for our stuff. Just go there if you want to get a hold of us. I've been reaching out to some new guests. We got some new people coming on, and we have some of our old friends that are coming on, like my friend D. Leon Stokes is with me today talking about his new book. So proud of him. Proud of my friends. You see, that's the thing about envy and jealousy. People get jealous of other people's success, and then they're sad. I mean, it's just like they're unhappy. I want to be joyous for my friends. It's like, whoa, good job, man. when Leon got a hold of me about this new book and he said, hey, and it's like, yeah, let's promote this thing, man. Let's go. How can we get people in touch with you, Leon? How would you like people to connect with you?
Yeah, there's a couple ways. I have a website. I've created a publishing company for kind of managing all aspects of my book and any activities I do. It's dlstokespublishing.com is the website.
dlstokespublishing.com. There we go. So that's what, and I'll put, what we'll do, everybody, make sure we put that in the recap for sure. I'll ask Vanessa to put that up there. dlstokespublishing.com. Okay, we got that.
And the email, that's what I was stumbling over because I was thinking about the email. The email is info@dlstokespublishing.com.
That's why you would get confused, of course. So again, say it again, info@dlstokespublishing.com.
dlstokespublishing.com.
That's a lot of letters. That's why you would get a little tripped up on that.
Send an email to that. I'll get it, and I respond to them very, very quickly. For any feedback, any questions about anything that I'm going to be doing in the future, any information on the book.
Are you available for speaking engagements?
I am available for that, and I do quite a few during the course of the year, quite a few book signing events. I just finished one last weekend in Pontiac that was really good. I did one the previous weekend in Detroit. I will be in Lansing this summer at the Juneteenth Festival, Freedom Festival, on the 20th. And there are several others that I'm in the process of trying to get confirmed throughout the course of the year.
Good for you.
Also, as it relates to any speaking engagements on any of the topics of my books, people can get in touch with me at that email, and we can discuss, when and where and whether or not it would be something supportive of their organizations.
This is a mentor to be for you and your young people, everybody. And he's a very, very good man. He's very, very educated, and he's got a lot going on. I mean, it's between his music, his engineering, and his sports, he's got a lot on his plate. Plus, he's got a great wife, and they got a great life together, doing really well. All right, so professional development, you talked about that quickly, but let's finish that thread, and then we got health and personal growth. They all sort of tie together because with health and professional development, again, these last three categories of your book all really fit together very well, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. The health one, and Tom, you can attest to this because I've seen your posts of you working out. The health is very, very important, particularly as you get older. You have to make sure you're maintaining your health, both physically by exercise, but also with the way that you eat, because our bodies are changing. It takes more. It's a lot harder to look this good as you get older because you got to put in a lot more work. And you really need to do that. And it's better to start earlier in life where it becomes a part of your life, and that way it's easier to maintain as you go forward. As you're working, being in good health, eating right is very, very important because there are going to be some long days that you need to maintain your health in order to do that. Well,
performance is directly related to your physical health, no question about it. And thank you for saying those kind of things about my physicality. I just find it to be fun. I mean, it's enjoyable. And I know that the value, it's like, you know what, everybody? Yeah, you don't get fired up every single day. Like, yeah, let's go bust out 3 hours. No. It's all process. It's just get one foot, next foot, do your supplements, get to the gym, go down to the basement, wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing. Same thing with everything. It's the same thing. So your health is all a process. And the food, how do you do with your health and your food there, Leon? What are you doing for your workouts now?
Yeah, first thing I do every morning is go down in the basement, work out on my elliptical machine for 45 minutes and get in my cardio. 3 days a week, I do strength training. That's more important as I get older because it's harder to build muscle and maintain muscle as you get older. Make sure I get enough protein. That's something that I wasn't doing previously. But again, in order to maintain muscle, make sure I get enough protein. But I do that every day, a minimum of 6 days a week.
I got to tell you, guys, I'm glad you brought up the protein because I was going to say it. I interviewed, and it's on our website, Dr. Don Lehman is one of the most world-renowned protein experts he's a professor emeritus from the University of Illinois. I interviewed him again, I don't know, be 2 years, I think, but he totally changed my whole philosophy and mindset on protein. And here's the thing, everybody, as we are growing older, as Leon was just alluding to, we have to, and Dr. Lehman, he's clearly said this many times throughout the interview, we have to increase our protein intake. as we grow older, because it's vitally important to maintain that muscle mass. And so there are other factors that go into it. And I know people get carried away with too much protein, this, that, and the other. I'm just saying, go listen to Dr. Lehman. That's all I did is I listened to Dr. Lehman. I read some of his papers. I was sold. Okay. There you go, Leon. I mean, so you're spot on, bro. The protein, the source of the protein is very important, but the protein is as a composite of the grams per day are very, very critical. So get a minimum of 100 grams a day, everybody. Sometimes a lot more than that, depending on what you're doing. So what else are you doing? Now you do the elliptical, you do some weight training. What about your wife?
Yeah, Yvette, she goes to the gym on a regular basis. I do mine primarily in the basement because I like to get up and get started right away. But she goes to the gym not too far away from us. She does that on a regular basis. And she's got a very disciplined routine as well that she does. So again, the key is, and this is something, again, you can attest to, the key is to make it a part of your life, to make it a habit, part of your lifestyle. That way, it's really not something that you got to do. It's something that you get to do. And the approach is completely different.
Totally. I have to ask you though, because Sandy and I are similar. We work out together occasionally here at the house, and occasionally we'll go to the Y. But I do a lot of my workout at the campus at Michigan State, and she has her classes that she does. How do you guys like having the separate paths? Because I think a lot of spouses, you need that time apart just to kind of have your own space. Does that work for you guys?
Yeah, it works well for us. And if the weather is bad outside, for example, and she doesn't want to drive over to the gym that she works out at, she'll come down in the basement, and she has things she can do there. But it works out for I'm an early morning person in terms of getting started, so that works better for me. She tends to do other things when she first gets up in the morning and then get into her workout. So it works out really good for us.
Find low impact devices. Take it from the double knee replacement, getting ready to have a hip replacement here. So I'll be the bionic man times 3 here. But the non-impact devices, for example, the elliptical, the treadmill can be good if you're not running too hard on it. The walking pads are great. And I'm in love. You guys know I'm in love with the rower. I have a Concept 2 rower. It's the best rower you can buy. And it's like, it is what it is. I mean, every day, no impact. All right. You got health. Now you're going into personal growth. We got a minute to go before we go to break here, and we're going to come up on that last segment. So let's recap what we've talked about so far, my friend. Travel, life experience, professional development, health, and the personal growth. Of those 5, is one more important than the other, or what do you think?
Yeah, and that's a good question. And I think it's going to vary based on the individual. But for me, the most important segment is the last one, personal growth and development. Because in that one, what I'm getting at is things that you can do and things that we should endeavor to do to grow as individuals, to make ourselves better individuals, better people, make ourselves better citizens of the world, do things to impact and help out our fellow man. And one of the most important things, I've got it number 50, but it's really number 1, is get Christ into your life, because that's going to really help you with respect to how you manage and how you go forward with all the other aspects of your life. But this section is talking about things that you can do to help yourself be a better person and do things that you can help other people. And a lot of them are very, very low effort. Mm-hmm. Little things that don't really cost you a whole lot of effort, but they can have a huge impact on other people. And I think that's probably the most important.
I call them random acts of kindness, everybody, RAKs. You keep RAKs in your life. I'm telling you, I have met more students at Michigan State University complimenting their gym shoes, because I love gym shoes, and the kids love it. And I mean, it just works. I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy.
It costs you nothing. It costs you nothing.
Costs you nothing. D. Leon Stokes, my guest today, everybody. 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime, his new book. It's awesome. This is The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I didn't tell everybody this is my first recording session since we got back from our trip, and I'm glad to be back. I'll tell you, Sandy and I love Southwest Florida, and we go down. We've been going down there now for 6-7 years, and it's just, I mean, we're at that phase in our life where we've earned it, and you get just sick of the cold, and so it's just like, so all of us snowbirds go down there, and it's just you just enjoy it. But Southwest Florida is just, it's just the best. I mean, it's just. That's just something like Leon Stokes, the doctor, 50 Things to Do in Life. Our travel, his first item on his 5 categories of this book, that is very, very important to us. But I'm glad to be home. I mean, I love Michigan and the Midwest and Wisconsin. Florida's great, but, it's just, after a while, it's just time to go. Time to go. Leon.
Time to come home.
It's time to come home. Yeah, it's time to come home. So I'm glad to be home. And I'm glad to have you as my first guest here, bro. It's good to see you. All right.
Okay.
We're in the last half of this thing here. Purpose is what I wrote down when we're talking about personal growth. If you don't have purpose, as I've coached many people, you can't have your 5th segment, your 5th category, your personal growth, because without a purpose, you're just kind of wandering, don't you think?
Yeah, without question. And again, that purpose, is not always, it's not always about you initially, if you're doing things for other people, but it comes back to you, because it's amazing how much you get out of doing something for somebody else. And again, like I said, a lot of the things, they don't cost a lot. They don't cost you anything, just effort or maybe a little bit of your attention, particularly as it relates to kids. Little things that you can do for kids can bring you so much joy and satisfaction. And it goes without saying, it does a lot for that kid. Kids, they deserve a chance to be successful. So anything we can do to give kids a better opportunity to be successful throughout their lives is going to come back and make us feel so much better.
I 1,000% support that. And I would also say in my experiences, because I'm so connected with Michigan State and I'm out there all the time, the kids that Leon's referring to me are college kids. And they really need our help. You'll know if they don't, if they got it all figured out, great. Good for you. If you got it all figured out, great. But there are many, many that, and you'll see and you'll know, right, Leon? You can feel the vibe. At least I can. I see the eye contact, and it's like they're welcoming. You have that good body language, and you have that emotional connectedness with people. And maybe you gave them a RAK, a random act of kindness, and you just broke that ice. But the college students really need us to give back to them. And as you've said a couple of times now, mentoring and personal growth is huge.
It's huge. Makes you feel so much better. You get as much out of that as you give.
Absolutely. How many mentees have you had in your life, in your professional career?
I can't even count them. Throughout my professional life, people I don't even know, they will come up to me, ask if they can get some time on my calendar, because they've got some questions for me, or they want some advice with respect to something that they're thinking about doing in terms of their career development. I can't even count, but it's always been very rewarding rewarding to have the opportunity to do that.
Well, see, that's the thing, everybody. When you have so many that you've had, it becomes irrelevant. I forgot to ask you for that website one more time, and I know we have new listeners on this segment. So let's pause for just a second. Go ahead and give all your contact info one more time real quickly. We'll do it again here shortly. That's my fault, everybody, but we're getting into the groove here. What is that website you want people to connect with?
Again, the website is dlstokespublishing.com, dlstokespublishing.com. There you get more information on both of my books, about my background, my motivation for writing the books, and you can actually purchase the books at that website as well. So again, that's dlstokespublishing.com. As Tom had mentioned, they're also available at amazon.com. You can get both of the books at amazon.com. My email is info@dlstokespublishing.com. Send me an email if you have some interest in doing any speaking, having me do some speaking to your organization, or if you have any questions or feedback about the books, just send me an email at that, and I'll get back with you. And I love the feedback. The feedback is very, very encouraging. So I love to get the feedback.
Creatives love the feedback. I'm the same way. I mean, if you don't get the feedback, you feel like you're working in a vacuum. eventually you just get over that feeling. I know I went through that for many years with radio. It's like, am I even talking to anybody? Is anybody actually hearing what I'm saying? It doesn't matter because it's the one person that you make that flick the switch, and
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. That's it. 15 years we've been doing this thing, and it's a passion play at this point. In the beginning, really, frankly, everybody, that my personal growth and purpose with my radio show was we wanted to make it hugely successful and nationwide and make all this money and do all this stuff. And it just didn't come. I mean, it just didn't come. But what did come was the realization that we were doing more good by meeting people, and the comments that we get and the emails that we get and people giving us feedback here and there, because now you start to realize that there are people listening, and it's just like, keep doing what you're doing, be consistent, stay with it. If you do any type of content creation, and if you, like, I'm on social media all the time, you will see these coaches, Leon, that will say, and we're talking about content creative coaches, you must post every day. You have to get in the habit, just like working out, just like writing, just like anything else. If you want to get in that space with your personal growth, you have to maintain that steady sense of purpose, correct?
Yes, that's right. That's right. And that connection that you were talking about is so important. If we had more time, I will tell you, at my event in Detroit a week ago, connected with this young man named Mario. And again, there's something that really connected with him in my book about my dad. It really connected. He insisted that his mother get him the book. This is a 15-year-old kid. But again, those are the kind of connections that you do. There's another one, a young lady named Layla. I've seen her at several of the events, and just watching her grow, and her intelligence, as she goes from a younger girl into a young lady. It is just amazing to see that. And when you see stuff like those two, you really have high hopes for the future, because they're very amazing kids. And all they need is someone to believe in them, give them a push, give them support. And it's amazing what they're able to do. But that connection is amazing.
The first thing you got to do is just listen to them, and that's the only way you can make the connection. I wonder see, here's the thing. If Layla ever hears her name was mentioned on radio or on this podcast, which I hope she does, fifth segment of the Tom Matt Show, you can get it to her and hear her. She would be thrilled. She would be thrilled. Yeah. That's the thing. It's these small wins. Leon, I want to ask you about small wins, because I it's part of my coaching too, is like, I want people to make a small wins list, put on a refrigerator, all these things. Have you ever dealt with that mindset, or had any philosophy on that, just making the small wins daily and counting it up instead of focusing on all of the losses?
Yeah. In fact, the small wins are probably the thing that keeps you going. There's going to be losses, no matter what you do, no matter what field you're in. They're going to have things not go your way. There are going to be losses. But if you just concentrate on the wins, no matter how small they are, look at what made those things possible, what made it successful, and look for opportunities to build on that. And also look for opportunities to kind of share that with other people, because you never know what they can take away from that. Those are the things that really can keep you going.
Well, we disregard our small wins and just take them for granted. It's like,
and we shouldn't do that.
Right, exactly. Well, it's like us in Detroit, our in Michigan, our sports fans. Okay, we never get to the point of with the Tigers or the Lions of being too complacent because of being winning all the time. But there are teams that just constantly win, and everybody just gets kind of, you get used to it. You know what? Take the win and be grateful that you had that win, because you just never know when it's going to happen again. All right, I want to do a recap here because I got about 3 minutes to go here, and I want to give you plenty of time. Let's go back through the 5 categories. Just touch on all 5. Give the website again, and just tell everybody what the whole thing was, the book, and I'll give you the signal when we got to cut this thing short. But go right ahead. Talk with the 5 categories and your website one more time, please.
Okay, I've broken the 50 things into 5 categories. Travel is the first one. It gives you an opportunity to get outside of what you're accustomed to and kind of grow and experience things, different cultures in different particular areas. Life experience are those things that you always dream about doing, but you never actually get around to doing. And I encourage you to do that, because they'll stay with you forever, and it'll just add so much to your life, and you'll just enjoy it so much. Professional growth and development, that gives you an opportunity to really shoot for those things that you want to do in your career, but also connect with people who have been there before and finding a mentor. And if you're beyond that and you've and later in your career, being a mentor gives you an opportunity to pay it forward. And that's really going to pay dividends for some people. Health, you need to make it a habit to do some of the things in terms of changing some of your habits in terms of how you eat, your exercise. Also, one of the things I didn't mention before, know your numbers. The numbers of your blood pressure, for us, our PSA numbers. You need to know your numbers, know what they are, know what they should be, and work with your primary care physician to make sure that you're getting there. And then my favorite category is the personal growth and development. Those are the things that concentrate on making us better people for ourselves, but also better people for others, because it makes you a better citizen of the world, and you'll have an opportunity to have an impact on other people's lives. And hopefully included in that will be accepting Christ into your life, because that's going to make a whole lot of things that much better.
Well done, young man. Way to go. Hit your timeline perfect. His name is D. Leon Stokes, Dennis Leon Stokes. As I have said several times, proud to say, he's a former Walter French Eagle, just like I am. We've known each other since junior high. We got stories. Next time he comes on, we're going to spend a couple of segments for all the people in the Mid-Michigan area who like to reminisce about this stuff. They love it. We'll have some conversations about Everett High School and Walter French, and there'll be many, many people. I want to wrap this thing up, everybody. If our show fits your business and group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our topics. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Thanks to my friend D. Leon Stokes, Sandy, Brock, everybody over at the selling team. We'll talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Thank you to Mitch Anderson and Vanessa for doing what they do. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life.
Original music.
Thank you so much for being part of our family. We are
by the Ark
out.
of All.